Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Howard Berger from Realcomm, and we're broadcasting live here from San Jose at the 2024 Quartet Conference, held here at the Guild House, downtown San Jose. And I'm here with Charles Whiteley, VP of Global Digital Strategy Execution for Digital AI at AECOM. It is great having you with us. It has been a while. How have you been?
Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure to be here, Howard, and I think I'm going on year 6, kind of with the broader Realcomm community, and I love coming to these events. I think this is the second or third time at the Guild House.
Second, I think, yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yep.
And great to be in San Jose, like kind of at the heartbeat of it all in terms of innovation, and just happy to be here. So,
listen, it wasn't the same last year without you. It is just great having you here. I mean, so for those of you who don't know Charles, Charles has played a very significant role in digitizing some of the largest and most complex organizations on the planet. And I exaggerate. I'm not exaggerating. Take a minute. Bring us up to speed on your journey.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's super nice of you to say. It does take a village, right? So I mean, everyone doing some of the work that we've been able to do, it really does take a large team, and just super humbled and thankful that I've had such great people to work with throughout my career. It's been a varied career. I think most of folks in this industry kind of have similar types of journeys. Going back out of B school, went into management consulting. Spent close to 20 years in management consulting, working for companies like Bearing Point, KPMG, and Accenture. I think time in management consulting really gave me a certain set of skills, like a toolkit, if you will, to approach very large programs of work. Anyone that's ever been involved in a massive SAP transformation initiative knows that you have to plan, to throw a little office space humor in there. But I think really my time as a management consultant gave me a good understanding of how to approach solving a big problem, how to build the right team to go and execute on that plan, how to keep the plan on track, and how to learn when it's a right time to dig the heels in versus pivoting based on some of the feedback or input from the business. And I think most importantly, how to bring individuals along the journey. Anytime you're going to spend a company's time, resources, money, energy, it's really important to bring those folks that are changing along that journey from the get-go. But learned really a lot about managing large programs of work through management consulting. Then I made that transition into industry. Was at ExxonMobil for 6 years, where I led a couple of massive programs. I think the one the Realcomm community is most familiar with is the smart building platform that we stood up and scaled across a number of sites across North America and Europe. Did a lot of work at ExxonMobil around smart building data standards, really focused in on optimizing our commissioning process, coupled that with some of our work around workplace, activity-based working. I think Exxon was one of the first companies to deploy activity-based working almost 7 or 8 years ago. And then recently joined AECOM, which was another very massive organization focused on building the infrastructure of tomorrow. And been at AECOM for about 4 years. I initially started within our buildings and places practice. It's our second largest business line by revenue. Our focus over the last couple of years there has been design automation. So how do we achieve a 15% of automation efficiency capacity within our design and engineering teams? And given that most of our work is focused on building engineering, architecture, mechanical, electrical designs, it's a massive opportunity for the organization. We've also pushed significant efforts into our social infrastructure space, so thinking about the smart infrastructure of tomorrow, whether that be hospitals, schools, justice facilities, and sports. AECOM does a lot of cool projects all over the globe. So I've actually been able to apply a lot of the learnings from ExxonMobil in the smart building space to the infrastructure realm, right? And we're starting to see a lot of our clients, which are now more in the public sector, focus a bit more on realizing tangible benefits and monetary outcomes and value from these investments. And we've been able to establish a pretty solid niche in that market. Recently got promoted, new role now. Well, thank you. We were really successful driving a lot of our strategic digital initiatives within buildings and places. So now I'm in a new role. We have 5 business lines within AECOM. We've got a water group that does, wastewater treatment plants, bunch of other stuff. We've got a transportation group that focuses on rail, transit, highways, and bridges. We've got a program management team that manages very large, complex programs of work, like in the billions of dollars. We've got an environmental organization, and then B&P. So now I'm driving strategy execution across all 5 of our business lines, really looking at building better relationships with our regional teams that actually go out and deliver that work. You never want to be ivory tower when you're doing digital strategy type stuff. And they've also given me the remit to lead AI strategy execution and adoption, working with our global AI lead. So it's been a really cool career if you actually take a minute and kind of look back. I've been super blessed, Howard.
And you still have time, you still find time for family?
Absolutely, family first.
And golf.
Yeah, family. Well, it's like God, family, and golf. And you could do 2 of them really well, right? So the golf game's kind of suffered a bit over the last couple of years, but we try to sneak out when we can.
I hear you. So you're going to be focusing on tomorrow in your talk on a case study about applying digital strategies to densify and repurpose space at the University of Colorado in Boulder. I took a look at that presentation, and folks, if by chance you're here and watching this, you definitely want to see this presentation tomorrow. I was blown away on a number of different levels, because of the strategic comprehensiveness and complexity, but how it all pulled together under a uniform vision for how this project should be accomplished. And I don't want to go into detail about it, but maybe you could share just a high-level overview of the significance of this project.
Absolutely. So University of Colorado at Boulder has been a great client for us. Super innovative, willing to try new things. This effort was led by our Strategy Plus organization. So Mark Whiteley, no relation, distant cousin, I'm sure, leads our Strategy Plus practice globally for AECOM. So really, from a University of Colorado at Boulder perspective, their primary concern was we've made a ton of investment in space. We're starting to see changes in the types of applicants that are applying for admission into our university, right? The mix is changing. The funding and the grants that we have allocated for specific programs within the university don't necessarily make sense. We're starting to realize we really have no plan in place or vision in terms of how do we appropriately manage the space that we do have more like a business to meet the demands of the ever-changing population and the influx of admissions and students coming into the university. And secondly, how do we think about this a little bit more, I guess, externally, right? So how can we start looking at demands for talent and skills and capabilities that are new and emerging in the marketplace? How do we bring that into our decision-making criteria and our process? How do we bring in both external and internal information to make better decisions? Because a lot of times these changes to a campus makeup take 2, 3, 5 years, right? They don't happen overnight. So how do we get better at that strategic approach to planning? Because it's not just moving seats around. It's not just knocking down a couple of different, walls here or there and putting a lab over here or putting some AV equipment over here. It's a much more comprehensive approach to how do we achieve our mission of, creating these students and giving them a path to be successful people tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's been a really cool engagement.
It's not just designing and strategizing workplace or facilities or operations.
Yeah.
This is a truly all-inclusive, all-encompassing. So, which makes, it just occurs to me that AECOM, because of the company itself, architecture, engineering, construction, advisory, you touch smart buildings, you touch a lot of the different components of a digital transformation for a business or an organization, seems to be perfectly suited for a project of that scope. Do you see that you have an inherent advantage there at AECOM with the resources available to be able to accomplish this?
I think that it's a great question, and I think our executive team and our C-suite are asking the very same question. So we've made a commitment to the street over the next 3 to 5 years that AECOM is going to transition into more of a advisory player and a complex integrator. If you think about the depths of skills and talent and capabilities at our disposal across the globe, it's pretty tough to beat.
Yeah.
I'm actually giving a presentation this afternoon around to some of our aviation clients around solving the challenge of global passenger congestion. Now, when you think about solving a challenge like global passenger congestion across, aviation terminals and airports all across the globe, and you think about all the moving pieces and parts to actually solve that problem, it makes the work that we did at University of Colorado at Boulder look relatively small in comparison, right? So, and I've said this as well, because we're talking about going up against, those big four shops like the Accentures and the Deloittes. And as an ex-management consultant, I think it'd be really hard to teach me how to be an engineer. But you know what? I think I could teach an engineer how to be a pretty darn good consultant. Yeah. And we're stock full of engineers. So I think as we continue this transition within AECOM, we're going to be in a really good spot competitively, globally, to solve not only industry challenges in the commercial real estate space, but in other industries as well.
So, sounds like it's a great place to be, man.
I've enjoyed it. Great culture. Our executive leadership team, super supportive of digital. It's a great place to be. Great place to work.
Well, listen, we're getting the signal. We've been out of time, but we've just been rolling with it. Okay, so cool. I just want to thank you. Yeah. Great talk, and thank you all.